Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ahsoka episode, not just the Ahsoka series review. I am the number one Kylo Ren fanboy, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by.
Stargate SG-1 Taylor Field.
Oh, and I forgot about this.
Yeah, but come on, touching his, like his belly. He's like, oh.
Yes, it's kind of continuing conversation. Kirkland's still not around, but that's okay. We know he's listening. We know he's listening, and maybe he can answer this question, or he won't be able to answer. He won't have to ask you, why are you sitting off to the side like that?
My internet totally phased out for the whole intro. I missed the Cantina intro there, and it just clicked back on. What's your question?
I said, why are you sitting off to the side like that?
Well, actually, I'm like sitting at my desk. I thought I gotta readjust my camera because then you can kind of see more of like my backdrop. You got like my Revenge of the Sith poster there, and then Jurassic Park and Grogu and all that. So I want to show more of The Office.
I think it's just kind of weird because that your name is taking up half your face there.
Let's be down in here.
Yeah.
Check out the video feed.
That's what you got to do. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is episode 3 of Ahsoka Spoilers. You can go back next week, or you can come back next week and go back last week, whatever your preference is. But yes, we're here to talk about Ahsoka, Taylor Field. Where can they find us on the interwebs this week? I think we got a bit more quieter weeks coming up. We got a newscast later on this week. We got Saw retros are dropping. I think the entire original Saw franchise is done. Is up there, the first 7. So I think that's up there. And then I think you'll get Jigsaw and the Spiral soon. What else? Kirkland and Dylan just did a side quest. Go check that out if you're getting ready for Starfield. They talked about their love of Bethesda games, and then next week there'll be Starfield happening. I think this week me and Dylan are going to cover the small little Nintendo Direct. So a few things here and there. The usual GeekVerse whatnot. I might try to try. As told you, we'll see. Kind of depends because I am off, but we actually have lots of things planned, so we'll see. But Taylor, where can they find all those goodies?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse Cast our Twitter. GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yeah, everything you need to know is down below. The Twitter. He just said that. All the links, all the audio links. I'm rusty. I haven't cat. This is a long. Usually I got to trust. Told you on the weekend, so it keeps me like nice and loose and stuff. But not this time. I haven't cast since last Thursday, so it's been a quick minute, almost a week here. But everything you need to know is down below. The video, the audio, how to support us, get episodes early, exclusive, and ad free. You can get right now the newest episodes of the original. Talk about how I'm getting old. Dylan saw The Prestige. Taylor doesn't know what sound a chainsaw makes, and Kirkland moved in his own place. So check that out. A really fun one there. And then next week, actually, this week you'll be getting a new episode of Bread and Butter. We'll be talking about has the MCU, or if it has, how much has it hurt Disney, or how much has the Disney Plus shows hurt it? We'll kind of break that down, talk about the past, present, and future. But now we'll talk about the Disney Plus shows here. So Taylor Field, how do you feel about the follow-up? Obviously, last week was a 1-2 episode, but it felt like one big episode. How do you feel a week later now? Obviously, last week, bold. You said, oh, hey, these first 2 episodes already your favorite thing on Disney Plus. Is this episode 3 continuing with that quality?
Episode 3 is absolutely continuing with the quality. It's just, I don't think I need much when it comes to this kind of stuff with Star Wars. Like,
we know that.
Like there's different types of writing and different types of Star Wars at this point that are focusing on different areas and different things that people really like. That could be something that's more like espionage, like Andor, more like cheesy, like Boba Fett, or more just kind of like Saturday.
I don't know
morning.
if anyone was asking for Boba Fett, when it was all said and done.
Yeah, Boba Fett's its own thing. More than people also craving that kind of like that. Yeah, I put Mandalorian as like that Saturday morning kind of like chime in because it kind of has that vibe to it. But that being said, Obi-Wan as well, another thing there. Ahsoka, though, to me is just delivering fantastic visuals that I think have not been present in some of the other Star Wars shows, well, yes, we get some really cool things. Like I think what Ahsoka is doing is just really presenting the scale of certain things, and I'm loving that. And I'm not saying that the other shows are devoid of anything like that. They introduce like the visualization of scale in their own ways, whether it be Obi-Wan and just the amazing like Inquisitorius Tower, or even like in Andor, the Death Star, like that cutscene. Like there's so many different things that you can kind of see in their own way. But with this, you get a very cool kind of intro that's just I appreciated it because it highlighted certain components from, again, the Star Wars universe, like Ahsoka's been doing so far with the previous two episodes, that I appreciated and I enjoyed, because it just, we'll get into it in spoilers, but it just really tickled my bone, my funny bone. Not my funny bone, my satisfaction Star Wars bone. And then after that, oh my God, we just got this brief 30 seconds, but it was just absolutely glorious. It was just like, I almost threw my food up in the air. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Just visually just sucked into this. And so after seeing that, it just felt like it was really doing a good job at feeling like and embodying certain other elements that have been created in this timeline of Star Wars, whether that's Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Star Wars Squadrons. There's different, they're not different. There is an aesthetic that those games have created in Star Wars, and I feel like this has now really begun to capture it and expand on it, and I like it. I really, really like it. We've got some very cool answers that I didn't really have questions to, but then they just presented themselves as answers. I thought, okay, this is very cool. We got a couple more reveals, which is very neat, and albeit, yes, a shorter episode, which is always a downside, I did not feel like I had any takeaway. I enjoyed it for what it was. It kind of just moved us from point A to point B. It gave us a little bit more backstory and a little bit more development with what our characters are trying to get through. And it just had a fair amount of action, probably for like at least half, a little more than half of the episode, which I'm not opposed to that. It was some very cool stuff that I was not expecting. And where we are now, I feel very excited to get to at least next week's episode, because I feel like I can piece together what is going to happen based on the trailers that we've seen for the series. So it's looking pretty good for me. As I said, this is still on a very much hype rising trajectory for me.
Hype rising trajectory. Okay, so yeah, I think I liked this one the best out of the three. So I guess I could say like, it's tough because I think the other two I like them. I thought, okay, these are good. I definitely like this one more, and yet I'm at the same time saying I wish there was more time. I know somebody be like, well, that proves it. No, I just think that, the other stuff was a lot of setup. I think this is like in a good way. This feels the closest to two things. One, it feels the closest to the prequels, almost specifically Attack of the Clones in one sequence, which we'll get into. So I think there's enough differences where it's like, okay, this is its own thing. And then this is where last week I didn't agree, and I can't remember if the critics how much I saw. I think it was just the first two episodes when people saying the first two episodes felt like Rebels episodes. I didn't really think they did. I thought there was little moments, but overall the pacing of it wasn't. This felt very much like a Rebels episode where they set something up, you get a little dialogue at the beginning, there's a big action set piece, and then the ending's kind of a cliffhanger or kind of a this is what's happening next week. That's where it felt, and that's probably the runtime too feels closer to that. So there's aspects of here that are my type of favorite Star Wars content that they start to hit on, so I like that. I enjoy that. I'm curious to see where they go with it. I really like, is it Hu Yang? Is that the droid's name, right?
Hu Yang, yeah.
Hu Yang, yeah. I really like him because I didn't really remember much from the animated stuff. I liked him last two episodes, but I like him and Ahsoka's back and forth, so I think that's good. It's like he's the right type of annoying droid where he's there and he's kind of supposed to be annoying in a different way. Luckily, it's not just like a knockoff of C-3PO, so I like that. I continue to like that actress's performance as Sabine. I'll have to look it up before I just keep saying that actress, but I continue to think that is the best one. I think if you're looking for, I think they progress things. They do progress things. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say it's filler. That's definitely not it. I just think if you're looking for a very story or character driven episode, this is probably not it. I think episode 1 and 2 do that more so. I guess, and that's why maybe I just enjoy this one more, is because usually I like the character and story stuff more, but last week I thought it was all kind of just good enough, where this week the action I think delivered, and I liked the set piece overall there. But yeah, I don't think it takes massive leaps and bounds. It gives us a minor character development, I'd say, on two characters, and then it does progress the story as far as getting from point A to point B. But in that way of progressing the story, you could really just go, well, they arrived on this planet and that's that. But they wanted to do a cool action set piece, and that's fine because it's Star Wars. And that's the way it works. So yeah, I like the show. Again, I'm waiting for it to kick in for me to be like in love with it. I think I'm curious to see where we get next week because we're already. I like where we were left, so that's a good thing. It's not like when are we gonna get stuff. I like where we left. I'm hoping that this episode 3 or 4 doesn't take a detour and we get a couple episodes of these people off the main mission, and then we got a rush finale as usual. So I like the speed we're moving. The speed we're moving feels like, if episode 1 and 2 had lots of setup, I think the speed we're moving at feels like, okay, we can get some juicy stuff sooner rather than later. So is there anything else non-spoilers you want to talk about?
Well, you said like kind of getting off our main mission, and I am assuming you mean in the sense how Mandalorian did, how at times there'd be like side missions from like delivering Grogu to wherever Grogu had to go.
Yeah.
I want to say they won't do that, but again, it's like Rebels did do that as much as Rebels had a
Exactly. They did do that. And I agree with Taylor in this point where they do have filler episodes. And it's more so just like, it all comes down to, and that's what we've talked about, right? The Star Wars, like, what do you like? I'm fine if y'all like different Star Wars, as long as it's done well. It's the same thing with Mando, where it's like, okay, I don't love maybe every aspect, but as long as it's done well, then I can enjoy and say, not for me, but I enjoy it. It's when I don't enjoy that type of Star Wars and it's done poorly, that's when I'm not a big fan of it. So all I want is pretty much we arrive on a planet here and we don't want to get up to a spot where, okay, we rush to a conclusion and then 3 and 4, or where are we at? 4 and 5 are, Sabine's helmet's gone missing and someone has to. I don't think they're going to do that. We might get one, but I don't think so because I think this is a bit more serious and character driven. Taylor, you were saying something before you were booted off.
Totally lost my train of thought. Shaw has been bought out by Rogers. Rogers is a horrible company. Oh, here we go again. Am I lagging? Oh my god!
No, you just paused for like 30 seconds.
I don't get it. I am directly plugged into my modem, and it's literally a foot away from me. It blows my
streaming
mind.
something.
Probably.
Oh, taking you down. But yeah, and then before we get on that, I wanted to say that. So it's interesting because Star Wars or Disney, they put out a press release. First they said 15 million, and then they said 14 million people watched the premiere. We don't know what that number is. We don't know if that's like how many. I imagine it's for a week. I don't know if that's like they just started a few minutes. That's what they say. But then Samba, which as usual doesn't take care of every TV, but of course with their ratings, it came as the second lowest before Andor. So I listened. I was like 1.4, or no, I was 1.2 to 1.3, and it was 1.2. So I was fucking on the money. You were a little bit higher. So do you think? So obviously we don't know, and like this is the tough thing. I do believe them that like we were talking about this in the GUA chat of like, oh, why would Disney lie? Like I do believe them, but they're also like currently getting sued for cooking their books. So it's like at the time of the strike, it's like. It's tough for me to always believe Disney. They made some whatever moves. So as far as I'm going to go with Samba, just because that's not a place that is being, in a strike, things like that. Were you surprised? Because I think you were having it like a little like on par with Mando or a little higher. Are you surprised that it is the second lowest as of the data that was at least curated this to go around?
I'm surprised, but at the same time, it's probably expected because there's clearly Star Wars fatigue. Just as much as I feel like you can get fatigue in other franchises, I think that Star Wars has hit that, and it's only.
I don't think it's Star Wars fatigue.
I think it's hit that because like it's just you get reoccurring shows that not everyone's on board with, like Andor and Boba Fett, and even like a lot of people that are super hyped with Obi-Wan. Like it's just prominently showing like people aren't really into these Star Wars shows coming out at this rate. I would say, I think people, if you want to build that
quality.
hype up, I don't necessarily say it's quality because like.
It's pure quality.
There's stuff in the shows that lots of fans do enjoy, but
I'm talking about general audience. So I think Andor, whatever people want to say, it's a great show, but that was never going to bring people in. So I put that to the side. The fact that I feel like you have Kenobi, Boba Fett, and Mandalorian 3, like I said, you said Andor side as the last 3, and I feel like the majority of people are disappointed in some aspect of that show. I feel like they have made Star Wars either disappointing television or not must-see television, like Mandalorian 3.
Where do we see the general audience's like comments as saying like, oh, they didn't like what's
But it's the ratings, the rating show. The fact that Mandalorian 3 is the same as Mandalorian 1 when Mandalorian 2 had this big jump, to me that shows, okay, they love Mandalorian 1. Mandalorian 2, who knows? Maybe they didn't love Mandalorian 2, but I still think that's more Boba Fett and some other things. That's all you have to go off of what people
But where do you get
are
the
into,
divide?
right?
Like, I want to see the divide of Star Wars fans and general audience broken into percentages and see what that is. Because I genuinely think it's just Star Wars fans for the most part. Like,
No.
I'm not into this anymore, and so the ratings come down. Because
No.
when you talk to Star Wars fans, that's a huge percentage, and
Doesn't matter.
I don't
Even
think the
if it's
GA
just
necessarily is always tuning into these shows all the time. And that
I don't
sort of
think
stuff.
all of them, but they still have to. I think if just Star Wars fans were to watch Star Wars, none of those Star Wars movies would have made $1 billion. None of them. Star Wars fan base isn't that big. You need
The movies are very different though, and
I know, but that's they transfer to the show. If it's the same thing as why Secret Invasion's down because some things in the MCU to me have been like, didn't really enjoy that. Like it to me, there's a correlation with Ant-Man when that came out and didn't review well and people didn't really like it. The next week that huge drop off and it did poorly. I think that Mandalorian, I think Kenobi's arguable because I think people go back and forth, but I feel like there was a sense of disappointment. Boba Fett, I think that definitely, but I think with Mandalorian specifically, I think they made that it's not appointment TV. When you have 2 to 3 episodes that you only get like 2 minutes of story and then the rest is Mandalorian talking with Jack Black and Lizzo, who may or may not be a crazy person nowadays. Like that's the thing where I feel like people went, I don't need to see this right away. And I think that's the problem. And the thing is, it's just will people get to? Because we were talking about that with Colin in our chat, because he's saying he's the same with the MCU, but I think that's just the same thing where we talk about Andor or like how many people fell off Bad Batch, right? How many people in our chat have been like, oh, I watched season 1, but I haven't got around to season 2. It's because if something is just kind of all right, there's too much content for people to watch now. I feel like Obi-Wan came in and Ahsoka just didn't surprise me just because I think it's just the state of Star Wars, and I think they need unfortunately, I don't think they need a show. I think they do need a movie. I think they need a movie that's going to come in and kick ass, and people will fall in love with Star Wars again. Because I could say that about Andor, but no one watched that. So either I guess you need a movie or you need a TV show that has a headlining main character like Yoda, the show, and that kill it. But that's the problem. I think with Kenobi, that was a chance, and I think they kind of dropped the ball with that one.
But then isn't that exactly what the fatigue is though? People are just exhausted.
No.
Let's say you said it's the poor writing and stuff, but isn't that like a fatigue of just the same poor writing and narratives again and again?
Yeah,
and again?
but I don't think it's fatigue of just Star Wars being like, oh, I just don't like Star Wars anymore. I think it's a fatigue of mediocre to disappointing Star Wars. I think the same thing like MCU, the fact that they've had some, there is superhero fatigue in a sense, but it's also just like, look at the superhero movies we've gone the past 2 years. There's been a lot more mixed results than the past few years of the MCU, and you're getting Civil War to Black Panther to Infinity War to Thor Ragnarok to Ant-Man and Wasp to even Captain Marvel, and that's where it's the fact of like, it's going to be interesting. I think this one will find... I don't know if it'll find an audience. I guess it all depends on the landing, because I never know what these shows, with the MCU and Disney Plus shows, when those finales come around, do they rush to it and that hurts people? I don't know, so we'll see. Also, we probably still got some Anakin in here, but and it's still good. And again, that's what we're talking about too in GUA. It all depends on what they consider success, right? Because I think we'll talk about this a little on news, but the plan was for this to get a season 2 before the strikes. Strikes can change everything, but as long as I think they hit a number that Disney is happy with, that's fine. I'm just very curious to see, like, because next...
I didn't realize there's supposed to be a season 2 for Ahsoka.
Well, that's a rumor. Just a rumor. It came out this week. We'll talk about it on news. But, like, and even then, my thing is, like, I think the next 3 shows... I guess you got Mando 4, but you got Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. I do not think those are going to do too well, because I don't think anyone's going to know what Acolyte is.
Acolyte will do good. Once people see like 10 Jedis swinging around, they'll be like, oh, whoa, this looks pretty cool. Like prequel effect.
No, Andor got nominated for like best drama series, and Emmy. And like, yeah, and who knows? Maybe those Andor numbers are lower and they're still happy with that. That's what we don't get to know. All we get to know is the outside, and they touted us at 14 million, so I think they're, I guess, happy with it. I'm just not surprised. Like I said, I think they just need a banger movie. I think they need to have a movie come out and people love it or enjoy it.
Rogue Squadron is this December.
Rogue Squadron
right?
December, according to my Adam app. That's crazy. They're still filming during the strike too. Just imagine that. If like, oh, we kid, we actually didn't cancel the movie. Patty's been filming the whole time, But well, let's get into some spoilers. So we're gonna take our first ad break, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back. So where do you want to start? Because we had the big action set piece. We had the training sequence. Didn't have too much with the villains this week. I know we can talk like they're around, but not too much. I'd say progression, and then we got some stuff with Hera. So where's your spidey sense tingling?
I'd like to talk about Hu Yang at one point, but I'd like to talk about the villain specifically. Marok is his name. I think is the Inquisitor.
Yes.
So. Of course.
What do you want to talk about with him?
Well, we finally got him to actually say something, but voice modulator to shit, and it's just the classic. Like, okay, it's just gonna feed the people, like just looking for food on what this guy is. Like, who is he? Who is he? So yeah, very very deep voice though.
Yeah, so last week, I'm not sure if you saw, did you see that Sam Witwer was listed in the credits? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I don't know, it's been interesting to see, like, what do people want? Because I feel like you already got the Rey nobody and the Rey Skywalker people back as far as fighting. Because it's like, you have people that go, I just want to be a henchman, just an Inquisitor, just go that route. And I agree to an extent. Like, for me, I don't care as long as it's done well. So if they reveal it, it's like Jacasa knew, then be like, yeah, it should have been a fucking nobody. And same thing with Ezra. I'm 50-50. I see a pro and con. We talked about that when we were doing the review of like near the end, he wasn't that much of the dark side. But again, it's been what we think 5 years since we saw Ezra last, somewhere in there at least. So who knows what happens in those 5 years? Anakin changed in like a couple months, you know, like he went from touching Padme's belly to slaughtering kids.
Or
in
are
a
you
night.
meaning 5 years like in our time or in Star Wars time?
No, in Star Wars time.
Oh,
Since
we're
the end
thinking more like a decade.
So they haven't seen Ezra in 10 years?
Because Ezra went missing. Rebels ends, I think.
No
2
wonder why
years
the
before
council's
Rogue
like,
One.
stop looking for him. He's dead. Give it
Let
up.
me pull out the actual timer. Okay, so Rebels spans over a 4-year period, so it ends 1 year before the Battle of Yavin. So 1 year before A New Hope is when it ends.
Jeez,
And
okay.
how many years between A New Hope and we can go Mando? At
Yeah.
least 9 years. So yeah, he's been gone for a decade.
Decade plus. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So, yeah, I definitely said agree with that council of saying he's dead. Like, yeah, give it up, Hera. It's been 10 years. So that's 10 years. That could easily happen. And I know people might be mad, but I don't know if you can be mad. Like, okay, of course you can be disappointed, of course, right? Because like if you don't like the story, shows have not done well. I'm not saying don't be mad, but it's not a situation like I go where it's like, oh, George did this and then oh they changed it, or when it's like JJ to Ryan to JJ. It's like this would be a Filoni call, right? If Ezra is dark side user, so. I am at least, because I know people go, I just want to be Merrick. I am leaning towards, I'm not saying he has to be Ezra. I would have my money on Ezra the more we go into it. But I think the longer they don't, like, voice modulator, they don't show him, because even the other Inquisitors, they, like, had a modulator, but they sounded a lot like what they sound like with the mask off, right? It was just like, oh, they have a mask on. Where this sounds like nothing. This sounds like, okay, it's some robot in there, and it's not a robot. If it sounds like this is clearly meant so you can't decipher who it is, even though it does actually sound like Sam Witwer, to be honest. So, and I know people have been like, oh, even if it's somebody new, I'd love to be like a star killer. It's like, yeah, I would too, but I don't know if this is the show for that. Like, there's so much stuff going on with Thrawn, Ezra, and then the actual characters we have, like Sabine learning the Force, that if they throw in a Star Killer like variant, I don't know if that works here. I'm completely down for Star Killer at some point. So for me, I'm all about the execution of this, even if he's just a like just a baddie, you know, like just a goon, then I like we'll talk about it if he gets slaughtered and died. Like I want to see Kate give him a badass fight. At one point when the ships got blown up, I thought it was him. I was like, man, that was lame. I would have been pissed. I was like, this is Knights of Ren. But where are you on like what do you think now, 3 weeks into it? And two, like do you have a hope, or are you just kind of like me where you're kind of like in a wait and see approach?
I mean, if it's Ezra, then I'm attributing that Ezra is as far away as Thrawn is, and you would need this hyperspace ring to go and actually like get him. But
yeah, because it doesn't track how Ezra got back. But again, it's 10 years.
Exactly.
We don't know, right? He could have found something. What if someone grabbed him from the world between worlds and he got lost somewhere else, you know?
I think that gateway is absolutely sealed off at this point after what happened in Rebels. But
Sealed, I hope so, yeah.
I would say, though, that it's unlikely for me that it's Ezra. I could see them spinning the story in some janky ass way and making it Ezra. I'm not gonna say 100% it's not him, but at this point in time, my opinion stands is it's not him. So that being said, I could see it just being Sam Witwer playing as a Inquisitor, and I think that totally fits. I don't think he needs to pull his mask off and unveil that he is Ren from the Knights of Ren, and he gets killed by Luke and Ben in the future. What I don't need that kind of setup. I mean, I wouldn't be like totally like upset about it, but like I don't need that in this story. I don't need them to end off the series with, oh, it turns out the Inquisitor was really this guy and he's going to become the new Sith Lord. I don't need that.
It's Palpatine.
Yeah, there you go. Just give me probably a climactic conclusion to his story. I think it's very cool to have another Inquisitor live action, and this Inquisitor has survived the Return of the Jedi, Battle of Jakku, post-Empire stuff, and he's just part of the Imperial Remnant. He's trying to find Throne. I think it's a very cool narrative because Inquisitor is just, he doesn't have a purpose. No Master, no Darth Vader anymore. So it works. It fits. I don't need him to be anything more than that. You can kill him off in this show or save him for the Heir to the Empire movie, but don't make him into some grand thing. I do think, though, the moment he pulls the helmet off and he is Sam Witwer and it's just an Inquisitor, I think that will be spicy enough for people to see Sam Witwer live action after being so many characters in the universe. And I mean, just hats off to him for just being such a roster. I mean, Darth Maul. Who's
he
the
voiced
other guy?
Palpatine at one
Star
point, I think,
Killer.
right?
Did he voice Palpatine? I always thought it was Ian McDermott that's always
Do a
voiced
search.
Palpatine.
I think he did Palpatine once. I'm not saying like a bunch, but I feel like in Clone Wars or something before they got Ian, they got him. Because I think they're trying to be cheaper on the budget. Yeah, I'd be completely down with that if his mask came off and it was just Sam Witwer as like a fan service thing. That'd be cool. I'd be down. Even if there is a Ahsoka season 2, keep him around. So yeah, like I said, I'm all execution. As of right now, I just think that it is tough, right? Because I just feel like, is there anybody that's, well, I guess the like Boba Fett and stuff, but they always come. So I was trying to think, was there any like big masked villains that aren't somebody, right? They usually are, but hey, the Knights of Ren were. So as of right now, I'm just gonna keep it as he is nobody, but it's just that interesting thing of same thing. Then what's his story, you know? So we'll find out because it creeps in my head. It really does when we see this guy and we hear his voice. Like, okay, is he somebody? I don't know. And like I said, I don't know if there's idea for a Star Killer because I don't know if we have the bandwidth to do that. But any luck on that?
You're right. Yeah, after Tim Curry voiced Palpatine,
right?
Sam Witwer took over, and then Ian McDermott did Palpatine for Bad Batch. So yeah, it just had everyone's in with that. That's crazy.
That's when they got that Disney money, you know, back in the day when the MCU was killing and stuff. So, yeah. So we got them. Anything else to say on the villains this episode? Because we didn't get much. Like we'll talk about the action piece, but not really anything. You know, Ray Stevenson's still hanging out of that planet. Dathomir Witch, like what's her name? Morgan something. Is she still
Morgan
like
Elsbeth.
Yeah, Morgan. She's just on her ship, shot on command. So they didn't do too much this week with them.
There was nothing really with Ray Stevenson's character. And obviously they're building the setup where he's going to fight Ahsoka in the next episode, which I'm looking forward to.
The next episode.
Oh, I think so. I think because they're on the planet. Like, what else is going to happen? The next episode, like, Ahsoka's going to finally, like, you're probably going to have Sabine deal with the soldiers, and then Ahsoka's going to show up at the area where Ray Stevenson is. And, I mean, you have to think, we're episode 4, so we're at the halfway point. So we're going to get something kind of, like, jumping ahead in the storyline, I'd say. And there's no other narratives to focus on. Not with the New Republic or anything like that. This is, like, when you think about it, this is the only real main narrative in the storyline right now, which I'm totally happy for. So... that being said, with Morgan Elsbeth in space, her station that she's got working on, I am jiving with this because it's hence my name. It's just giant stargaze, giant hyperspace ring. It just looks like a super massive Jedi Starfighter hyperspace ring that the Jedi Starfighters pull into and whatnot. But very cool to get a little bit more, not from the villain side. I guess I'm transitioning on the topic of hyperspace, but backstory where old Jedi texts basically talk about, Jedi archives talk about how they used to form, I guess, hyperspace lanes intergalactically by basing it off of how Purgles jump around and stuff like that, which I think is very, very cool. Anything that involves, especially video games that get intergalactic, shouts to Sins of a Solar Empire, you can go between galaxy to galaxy. I love stuff like that, and to not ever have that in Star Wars, it's always made Star Wars, as vast as it is, always feel contained in one small galaxy. And now we're blowing that up, and we can go out to other galaxies now. Like, holy shit, what if you had like a whole nother group of Force users out there that weren't really like, I don't know, not Jedi or Sith, or just they're just their own thing. Like I guess Chiss Ascendancy, you know, Skywalkers and whatnot. But it's just very cool. It's an expansive idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds great. It sounds great. I just don't know if they, do they go that route? Like I said, that's my worry. And I think you had said something to me. I don't think it was on air. I think it was off air about the idea of just Thrawn coming back here instead of us going to Thrawn. That to me instantly gets like less exciting. So maybe it's something that down the line they'll do. I just think that I'd love if them go other places, but I don't think they will. So we'll see. So let's see. What else did you say there? I don't think there's anything
Purgles.
else.
Live action
Purgles. Yeah, we
Purgles.
got and I guess we talked about that now where you got this big chase scene. To me, remind me very much of Attack of the Clones with Boba Fett again, or sorry, Boba again and Jango against Obi-Wan as far as not the same as far as like the space feel, but you're in the shots in the cockpit. They're trying to outmaneuver each other, all these things. You got a big fight here going on. I like that Ahsoka was trying to continue to train Sabine until Sabine's kind of like, hey, we just got to drop that and just get to it. And Ahsoka's like, yeah, okay. And then they get shot. They're trying to scan this ring, so they're going to get more info on that. There was about 5 other pilots. They took out a couple of them. We didn't lose Merrick. We didn't lose, oh, God, what is the...
Haiti.
Haiti?
Skull and Haiti.
Skull and Haiti. His name's Skull?
Might be Heishi. Yeah, like Balin Skull, Skoll,
okay.
and then Haiti. So wolves. Think about Norse wolves, Skull and Haiti.
Oh, I'll forget that. But Haiti, yeah, so she was there, get a little more dialogue this week. She had a little sass thrown Morgan's way. So that's interesting, the dynamic there that I think really just like Balin's the one that has her unleashed. But again, this whole set piece in a good way gave me lots of prequels vibes. Felt like I was at Attack of the Clones again. And yeah, what a great end piece too. I think there was some good like adrenaline pumping moments where Ahsoka got on the cockpit, had a suit, which makes sense, had a suit specifically for all her headgear and stuff, so that was fun to see. But they had a couple of shots of like the ship going right by her, very close. It was, lots of close calls for Ahsoka there. So it's something like we haven't seen in live action Star Wars, I don't think, right? And that's what I appreciate. Like I don't think have we seen a Jedi climb in space in the cockpit and start, deflecting blaster bolts from a ship.
Heavily in Clone Wars, not in live action.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that's what I like seeing in live action. Like, do some new stuff. There's tons of stuff we haven't done. Even just characters in spacesuits we rarely get nowadays, ever, right? Even the original trilogy was very few and far between. I know in Empire, like Khan had that little mask when they're on the planet that was actually a creature.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen Empire enough times. Don't press me now. But no, I thought this set piece was really. It was just Star Wars fun. It was a good time. Speaking of what we did non-spoilers, this is again a scene that made me wish, like, man, I wish we had some stars on the big screen right now. But no, I really enjoyed. I'd have to think about it, but it might be a top 5 Disney Plus Star Wars action one, maybe even top 3. I'd have to really think about it. Maybe we'll do some rankings of Disney Plus stuff in the future. But I really enjoyed that set piece.
You don't see shots either too often of starfighters coming down on a Jedi like that, and I really jived with that. It reminded me of Bell from the High Republic, where I think it was his master was down, was it not? And like he was just the starfighter was coming around. He's using the Force. He was deflecting blasts back and stuff like that. It's just such a cool trick, and not like we got something like that with Rey in Rise of Skywalker, where she jumps up and like slices the ship, and that was kind of a cool little callback here when she jumps up and takes out that other random pilot. When you see Merrick and 2 other randos, the randos are the bantha fodder. They're getting axed in this whole sequence here. So.
And then, anything else on this set piece? Because that's about it. They land. They use some. This is where I was liking. God, why did I keep forgetting that droid's name? I had it perfectly at the beginning. Hu Yang. He got shot. He did the scan. Like I forgot to mention that. He got shot. Came back to life. There's some good stuff there. They landed, and their plan is just to get to their destination. And this is why when you said with Balin and Ahsoka are going to fight. If they do, I think it's going to be very minor because at the end of this episode, he just sent all those guards after, but he wasn't moving really. He didn't move a muscle.
You remember the scene in the trailer, though, right, of them fighting?
Is it for sure on this planet, though?
Oh, it has to, because it's in the courtyard where they blew up the planets and everything like that. So I feel like Ahsoka's going to arrive. Balin's going to try and like sway her, like, Ahsoka, like, oh, I knew Anakin, all that kind of stuff. And then they do engage.
Yeah. They engage. Yeah, I think it's going to be a mini fight scene. I don't think it's going to be anything too massive. I think maybe under a minute. I don't think this is going to be the fight scene. So,
yeah, that's fair. Nothing at all. Well, on the note, though, of just that kind of like fight scene.
What if he just kills Ahsoka, episode 4?
You're not getting that
imagine-
season 2.
No.
Called Sabine will be the next show.
Yeah, she takes on. She's like a Ray. She takes on her name like Sabine Otana. You know, she just like decides.
Sabine Otano. Oh God.
Yeah. What's her Sabine Otana Ren? That's what she'll be. That's what I laugh too. Imagine when she just got on that ship like this. They just shot her. Like when they shot the wing, it just shot Ahsoka, and she just blows up. Sabine's just stuck there, dead air. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Maybe next episode. Hu Yang drops a very, very interesting comment. I'd say when Ahsoka was just kind of expressing her grievances with Sabine, and Hu Yang is like, well, you know, you come from a line of very unorthodox Jedi. I was like, Kitty, because you were telling me that the other day too, and it was cool to think about. Yeah, you got Yoda to
Count
Dooku, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, Sabine.
You got 2
pretty
dark
crazy.
users in there in that lineup too. So
Not a good
there's-
track record.
No, it's not. But then you also have what people arguably say is the greatest Jedi of all time in Yoda. So it's like, does it balance out? I don't know.
That's true. That is
Not
true.
a great teacher though, because his own apprentice turned the dark side. So great Jedi, but most you look at this line of the greatest Jedis, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Anakin. They're not great masters, really.
The greatest one was Qui-Gon because his apprentice didn't turn to the dark side. So I mean, if he was very.
You could
he's very
technically
smart.
say Anakin was his apprentice though for 2 days. Yeah.
Didn't count.
No, I think it counted when he's at the council and he's like, "I'll take him on as my own apprentice." I think that counts.
The
enough.
council scoffed at him. So it count. Didn't he say
No,
too,
he was
like,
going to take him on himself. And remember
I
on
think-
Tatooine, he told Anakin to duck. That's his first lesson.
Yeah,
Anakin,
that's
drop.
his lesson. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he says like the council has not granted me permission to train you, so I want you to watch me, pay attention. Like that's what he tells them.
Well, I think technically he was doing that because I don't know if he could. Was he allowed to take on? Are you allowed to have 2 apprentices?
No, Mace Windu is like the code forbids it.
Yeah, so I think that's why, on a technicality, I think Obi-Wan, he just had to wait till Obi-Wan graduated, and then he could take him on. So, but I still count it, Qui-Gon's one that fucked us all. He should have just slaughtered that kid when he found him, and we would have been A-okay. Palpatine would have lost.
There you go.
Thrawn still would have lost if
Well,
he was around.
Palpatine would have won still. Palpatine loses his. Palpatine loses. Okay, you take Anakin out, or Anakin gets killed by Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon probably becomes Palpatine's new apprentice, but
No, okay, that's the biggest reach you've ever. You saying Thrawn could have won like the Battle of Endor? And Qui-Gon turning dark
Qui-Gon
side.
slays a child who is the most powerful Force user, higher than midichlorian count than Yoda, and it's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Okay.
Kills him. Probably.
I'll take it back.
kills
I'll
the
take it
mother.
back. He doesn't slay him. He just forgets to tell Anakin to drop, and Darth Maul just rides and like remember that scene Hereditary?
Okay, yeah.
Except it's with Anakin. Just-
In that case, yes, he's not going to turn to the dark side. But
I rescind the
fucks
slaying.
up. He's just a victim, another
Yeah.
victim in the war with the Jedi.
Because at this point, just a quick detour. You take Anakin out. Because right now, if you take Anakin out, I don't even know. I wonder what Qui-Gon does if they go to war.
You keep Dooku, right? Like, I think Qui-Gon totally leaves the Order. I think you replace Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon just doesn't want to join Dooku, because Dooku tries to persuade Qui-Gon, or just persuade Obi-Wan to join him, and Obi-Wan's much more like, no.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I agree with you that Qui-Gon could go out on his own. He might not agree the ways, but I think if he was to try and get recruited by Dooku, I do think he would pass message to Obi-Wan or the Council. I think Qui-Gon still has that, and even to Yoda, I feel like he has some loyalty a little bit there, so I feel like he'd get back to them, but I really don't know, because if you're looking at things like they had,
I think he pulls an Ahsoka. I really think he does. Leaves the
sits
Order,
back
just
and
kinda
does nothing for
Yeah.
decades. But they had, what's his name? They had Grievous dead to rights, and he sacrificed. Like, I guess you could still do Order 66, right?
You could. Again, you keep Dooku, right? Dooku doesn't get killed by Anakin, so you have that. That's a huge one.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of, does the combo of I don't know, does the combo of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan beat Darth Maul, or beat,
Well, let me put it to you this way then. I mean, if Qui-Gon doesn't die, does Dooku turn?
He was already kind of turning, though, right? And
But
then he had that
the
funeral.
kicker was definitely Qui-Gon dying.
Yeah, that's interesting, because he'd really that's where the whole what if game, you'd have to go from a bunch. But now I'm just trying to do the what if of no matter what, Order 66 was going to happen, and Anakin's role. Anakin's role, he killed all those leaders, right? But really, you could have got anybody to kill those leaders. Like Palpatine still could have showed up. So, yeah, I think here's the thing where I think Palpatine would have still been able to do what he did, but I think without Vader, the good guys would have came back a lot quicker. I think they would have had a stronger comeback, and I think maybe that would happen. But maybe that's another cantina for another day. So we'll take another ad break, and we'll talk about some of our other characters that are on the good side at least. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So we talked about last week where we said, "Oh, hey, what's up with Jason Solo?" Or fuck no. See, the boat legends have programmed me. They should have never named him fucking Jason. They knew that name means a lot more to Star Wars fans than just like that's a fucking Skywalker Solo kid. I know it's not anymore, but they shouldn't have done that. But anyways, so Jason Sadula, who looked a lot more green in the cartoon, but that's okay. He's a muted green.
No,
here.
his hair was just green. He wasn't green.
Just brighter, I mean. Like the hair was really bright green.
Yeah. Fuck.
But it's fine. Don't want his hair looking like Hera's eyes, But we get this moment, and I'm enjoying this so far. As I said, next week, I want more integration with these characters into the main canon if they're going to be important, not just doing their things on the side. So Hera has this meeting, talks about, hey, I think Thrawn's back. Lots of them think, you just probably think this is a way to find Ezra, who's probably dead. We don't want to go this route. This does kind of go into the whole them being cocky because, like, why not even just look into it a little bit to see if there is Thrawn?
But
they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to do any resources. Hera, I think in Elizabeth Mary Winstead. I'm all over the place. Fuck. In her best scene, I love she's questioning that guy. And she's like, "Oh, have you ever been to war?" And he goes, "No, well, I have." And she starts doing the speech, and I thought that was really well done. So I like the scene. My worry is this is going to be like the only one with it because in the previews we only saw Mon Mothma once. So I really want them to expand on this further. But I think this also feels like the most that Winstead felt like Hera to me. The other two episodes, she just felt like a guide and just felt like, okay, Winstead's great, but this felt like more like the show. The Darth Wonka says, if they do Ezra dirty, I am done with Star Wars. Okay, I'll hold you to it. If Ezra is bad guy, never watch another single thing of Star Wars. Never. No, I'm not being a jerk. I'm just saying, hold to your word. Don't be those people say, I'm done with it, and then I'm back for Ahsoka too. Be done with it. Are you ready to give it up? That's the thing. But yeah, I guess I can get to a point. I don't know if there's anything that like nowadays would make me done with Star Wars. It's hurt my level of excitement of Star Wars, but done, I don't know. It'd have to take a massive quality drop, and it hasn't done massive. So big, but not massive. But Taylor, what do you feel about Hera's scene here with this council?
I absolutely loved it. Again, I was alluding to this in the non-spoiler. Just that 30 seconds, just the A-Wing squadron, and then we got to see the whole New Republic fleet. I was home one. I was like, oh my god, it was just so beautiful. I just want to see this get into the battle. Like, oh god, it was good. It was so fucking good. After that, though, we got that debate scene. Is the meeting. I really, really loved it. It's just this ignorance, I guess, between just these New Republic politicians that think, it's very much like America at the end of the war. They brought a lot of Nazi scientists to work for them, and I think that's just the exact parallel here. We have a bunch of Imperials, and the guy's like, all these Imperials, they swore loyalty to us, and Hera's like, yeah, long live the Empire. It's not very loyal. Like, fuck. And it's true. Like, these senators are on another world in their mind, and they're like, the supplies that we have and the resources are going to go to the refugees of the New Republic. It's like, you're so out of touch. And I know I can say that as a viewer because we get to see the sinister ongoings that happen behind the scenes. But I love it. Yeah, I just love it. It's just so juicy and just like, it's like Star Wars conspiracy, and I'm getting all into it. And so when you have Hera dropping that line to that one ass monkey, when he's like, she's like, how does
not
she
his
put
real
it?
Star Wars name?
Were you? No, not his real name. Senator Ass Monkey.
Ass Monkey of Lothal. I'm a great general.
Were you in the last war? He's like, no. Yeah, as you said, like, well, I was. I guess, were you just sitting around waiting to see who came up on top? And I was like, I was with the other senators, just like slam dunk. Can't say anything to that. That burn was just ripe. Holy shit.
And my mom was like, we'll go talk.
Yeah. Oh my god. Look at this. What if Jason becomes Luke's second student? Then doesn't mean Jason dies, right?
Well, they're all dying. Kylo Ren's gonna kill every fucking one of them. Grogu, Ahsoka, Sabine.
He's not killing Ahsoka. Get out of here.
Oh, he could. He definitely could.
No, he
Okay,
can't.
who's more? In your opinion, who's more powerful, Vader or Ahsoka?
Oh, I'd say Ahsoka.
Oh, bullshit. You're just saying that because of this now. No, Vader fucking killed her. Why are we actually having this conversation?
No, Vader didn't kill her. Vader
he
didn't
did.
kill her.
Rebels.
When? No. She survived the whole ordeal.
They had to go back in time to get her. She died.
Oh, no, that would have been the explosion that would have killed her, not
No,
Vader.
either way, she lost the battle. If you put the two people in the room, Vader walks out, she won. So, by proxy, both Luke,
I don't know.
both Luke and Palpatine have both said that Kylo Ren would be stronger than Vader. Now, both of them had it flipped because it would have been, I think, if he's on the good side. That was the problem with fucking Snoke and them. They're trying to make him the bad guy. Didn't work, but no, I would say that, yeah, they didn't happen. So let's see here. Kyle Arkin says, love Mary's performance. His hair in this episode, I totally agree. I think I want more of her. I really want more. The same way as Rebels, I wish this was maybe even longer so we get like just a Winstead episode, but we'll see. I'm curious again to see if she's just always at bases or if she's actually going to do some action. Darth Wonka says, fair enough, appreciate your take. Yeah, dude, stick with it. Let's see. Darth Wonka says, they have such a perfect way the world between worlds to undo the damage of the sequels. No, I disagree with you on that one. I think the sequels are what the sequels are. I already don't like time travel, so it's like you had your shot, you did it, you make your bed and lay with it, you make other great Star Wars then, and you move forward, you know? Plus, there's stuff that people do like in that series, and like, all those movies are $1 billion of movies. They're all very successful. So clearly people like them enough to keep going back. So no, the way between worlds for me is dumb. And that's like the Ahsoka thing I already thought was dumb. I think just to fix what, you know, it's one of those things where it's just like, and I think also we're in a situation where, you know, it's, Harrison doesn't want to do it. We lost Carrie already. Like we're not in a situation where we can't, like, I wouldn't want them to really go back and
create
stuff.
people. We've been scanning. Hollywood's been scanning people's faces.
Carrie Fisher's back.
We're set. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, no, fight Wonk says fight me, just kidding. Yeah, and that's great. If you have that opinion, that's completely fine. As long as you're cool with the debate, that's great. Because yeah, just that for me as a concept doesn't really work. I just like, okay. You know, and there's some stuff in the sequel stuff I like, you know, just like Kylo Ren being confirmed to be more powerful than Vader, and you know, that's a great thing. And then Kyle Arkin says, I didn't catch this because I never watched Resistance. I haven't checked it off the Star Wars list yet. It was great seeing Kaz's father from Star Wars Resistance.
He's the Senator Ass Monkey. That's Kaz's
is
father.
he? Senator Ass Monkey from Lothal. Anyways, to circle back to this. So they said, hey, where's your son? Which was really weird because I thought, oh, we're going to see him in another episode. And he was just like out the door like, hey, Mama, Sabine's becoming a Jedi. And it's just like, okay. I don't think he'll be Luke's second student because like they're assuming what? So like Ben's his first student, right? And then he gets another. I really don't know.
Just the hallway scene. Luke's X-Wing arrives and he just cuts down people and he shows up. I'm here to take Jason.
You have to leave your mom though. Yeah. Same scene as she like puts her head to head. And then in the Boba Fett season 2, she goes and picks up her son and stuff. As I've said before, I'm creaming my jeans if we can get a young Ben Solo and a young Luke Skywalker. And I would love it if they show up, they recruit them. I would love to see, a young Ben Solo interact with Ahsoka, like Ahsoka knowing that's his grandkid. Fuck, man, there's some juice right there. You know, that's why I still want them. I don't want them to be like, oh, Mark Hamill can't be Luke, let's not do it. Or like, we have to deep fake it. Get the fucking guy who plays Luke. He looks close enough. Have more interactions with those characters. So that's where I do want, again, the main continuity and the Rebels to be more in sync. I think Jason would become more likely Ahsoka's next apprentice than Luke, in my personal opinion. I know Sabine has a long way, or hell, you could even say that if you do a time jump, something like that, he could easily become like Sabine's first apprentice. You know, like let's say we jump 5 years in the future. Like they do this all the time with these actors. Like Ahsoka's barely aged. So I feel like Ahsoka or Sabine would be more the master type for Jason. I am hoping, my last point before I throw back to you, we didn't get a Kanan reference then. I'm really hoping by the time the series ends that she mentions that, because I feel like they're trying to make it seem like the kid knew what the Jedi was and the Force was, and I feel like maybe as a mom she would have said, oh well, your dad was this and he had the Force, he was a Jedi, da, da. I just hope we get to see some of that conversation on screen. Do you think we're going to get any of that, or do you think they might not even like I'm sure we're going to get Kanan once, but do you think we're going to get a scene of her talking to him about his father?
Force Ghost Kanan.
I don't think so, but you know, I don't think Kanan was
Yeah, that's just
strong
it.
enough to learn that power.
Well, I mean, apparently everyone just knows the power at this point in Star
Oh,
Wars.
even Qui-Gon, remember? And Lore at one point said he could never form a Force Ghost, and here
Well,
he's an
that's
Obi-Wan.
just it. And
Hello,
here
Obi-Wan.
he's a Force ghost.
But do you think we're going to get some conversation with Hera and Jason about his father?
I think that they touch upon it a little bit. I don't know, like, the story has to kind of segue into that. I don't want Hera to just next scene when she's not done, or she's done talking to Chancellor Mothma, or not talking to whoever. The scene just dropping in like that, and like, hey, Jason's son, let me tell you about your dad. I don't want it to be just thrust into the story. I need it to be brought in cohesively.
Well, they kind of brought it though, right? When he said like, "When can I become a Jedi?" She could have just said like, you know,
To be
from
honest, that whole
experience.
scene, it happened so quick that I really wasn't expecting it, because I thought it was just going to be kind of like a dangling carrot. Like, oh, he's around here somewhere on the ship, you know, playing
Well,
with
that's what
Chopper.
I
Like,
thought.
okay.
But literally, the first talking we get from him is, "When am I a Jedi?" I thought, well,
Yeah.
for sure we're gonna be like, "Oh, well, your father was at least much older, so I think you have some more time." Like, I thought something was gonna happen. So that's what I'm just. Do you know at this point? Do you think that he knows his dad was a Jedi or not?
I think he knows his dad was
Okay.
a Jedi.
I'm 50-50 on it, so I'm undecided.
Yeah, I think he knows, and I think, I mean, yeah, he's. I think we probably see some mention of Kanan for sure, and I think we also see maybe him use the Force.
Oh, I hope not. Not episode
you
one.
hope not?
Not season one. If there's a season two, save it for that. I'm down to build up to it. I think because we already have Sabine. When is she going to use the Force? If we have Sabine and him at the same time using it, I think it'd be better if like Sabine and him go on a mission when she does have the Force and she notices something or sees something and then kind
That'd
of
be
takes
cool.
it upon herself. So I think season one's just too cramped for him to have it, unless it's like literally like one of the last scenes of the episodes to show like, oh, he's got that power too, you know.
I could see them not pursuing that, but that would be cool.
They
You mentioned
have to. He's like, I'm gonna be a Jedi.
You mentioned earlier about just Ben Solo, just the time period, and everything, and I mean, let's do that young Ben Solo and get like bearded Harrison Ford.
Bearded Harrison
in that
Ford.
time.
Bearded
I mean,
Alden
that's just-
Ehrenreich. That's
Yeah.
a fucking evil photo.
No, it's perfect.
He looks like the painting off of Ghostbusters too. like, he looks like Trump's mugshot right now. What was going like?
Oh,
like
what was that guy's name?
what was he? What was going on with Han Solo in this shot? My God, he's looking mad. God,
I got
Leia
just Vigo the Carpathian. That's Vigo.
That's what he looks like, Viggo Carpathian. This is the news, like Leia just, that's better looking happy one. But that one you showed me, God, that was like Leia saying like, oh, you know, I'm pregnant. And he's like, what? I'm not gonna, I don't want to be a father. Anything else to say on Hera or the Council?
Hera was just badass. The Council, I really need to see more of that. I need to see more of that ignorance. I need to see more of that just shoddy, just, oh, the Imperial remnant is scattered, and, you know, this is just another attempt to find Ezra. It's just these complacent doofuses. I love this, and this is just what leads to their downfall, and it's just so wonderful. So freaking wonderful.
And then finally, we haven't talked about, we got our first inklings of Ahsoka training Sabine. You know, talking about the classics, you know, it's not about seeing, it's about feeling it. You get the, you know, what started it all really. She gets her version of what Luke has with the thing on, which is kind of, like, I guess for people that didn't watch the episode, to be clear, it's like the helmet that blocks your vision so you could fight, right? I felt like it was kind of odd that she's like, how am I supposed to fight with this? When she she's around like Kanan when he was blind for like 2 years. Like clearly wouldn't she have noticed like, oh, maybe this makes sense of why you would train without vision, because like the Force would help you have vision. So that was kind of disconnect for me of like a character that spent a lot of time with a blind Jedi to question Ahsoka for making her blind. It's like, I think she's just getting you ready for anything, you know, and you saw a guy literally who has no sight who could do it. So I think,
but I think the case was that she sees that he had no choice and he had to learn, and she's making us think like, hey, I don't need to do this way. I can see. I'm not blind. I guess.
But she said like I need my vision to fight. Or how do you expect me to fight with my vision? It's like you saw a guy do it. You know, it's like I get what you say that he had to do it, but it's not like he got blind and then he just sat out for all 5 years.
She also complaces herself out from being that Jedi role. Well, she talks about being that like a Jedi, and Hugh Yang saying if you were a Jedi, you'd be one of the worst Jedi out there, which doesn't help. But she's very much complacent and seeing herself adjacent to that. And I think when you look at least when she looks at Kanan, she sees, oh, he was a Jedi, he could do all this stuff. And with her, like she's not that, and she's she has to overcome that, and then she can be that person. So I think it's just to add more of that, like, that shields up kind of resistance.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, they get that going on. Some fun little training there of Ahsoka just pretty much poking her and stuff. You know, she did well enough. She got a couple of hits, and then Ahsoka takes her down. You know, what we've seen all the time. How am I supposed to train this? You know, it's not the fighting that's the problem. It's the connection with the Force. And they talk about just the usual. You got to feel it. Has to be in you. Everyone has the Force, stuff like that. And then they do this little tease where she's trying to move the cup, and that's what Ahsoka says. Just start on the little things, which it's funny we haven't. It's such a, and I'm not opposed to, but it's such like a reverse engineering of making someone a Jedi, because it just feels like it's like, well, they're really good at this, and we kind of need them on the team. So like, let's just make them a Jedi, because they haven't referred to anything in the past. Sabine hasn't, and as of right now, we see that she has no like Force like abilities. Where I feel like usually that's what happens with the Jedi, is usually some Jedi sees them doing something Force-like, and then they recruit them. So it's very odd this way. I'm not opposed to it, but it feels like I said, kind of fitting a circle peg into a square hole. So, or other way around. So we'll see. I like the Master and Apprentice dynamics. I'm always a sucker for that. I was happy she didn't move the cup in this episode. I thought it'd be a little fast. I think she should do it in the finale. I think that's or even penultimate.
She'll do it in the battle with Haiti, I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah, and that's how she'll get the upper hand, and then they'll kill this really cool character that everyone's liking. So, yeah, but actually, I'm kind of fine with that as long as they don't make her good side. But, yeah, I liked all the scenes there. Nothing, again, what kind of talk about in the non-spoilers where there is progression. It's quite small, but it is there. But, yeah, anything to add on Ahsoka or Sabine in this opening?
I thought it was great. I love seeing Hu Yang rock out the Grievous look, and I guarantee you're gonna get so many more memes of like, hello there. Like, it's bad. Any time a four-armed character appears anywhere on Star Wars, or not just Star Wars, but like the Star Wars groups just go ham. Any four-armed character, just Google it, and there's memes. General Kenobi, like, it's just, it's cutthroat. And now they're gonna do it more. This just feeds the memes, and it'll be Hu Yang, and they're gonna put him and Obi-Wan Kenobi together, or they're gonna put like Sabine, and they're gonna put Obi-Wan's beard and like head, like hair on Sabine, and then yeah, it's just ruthless.
Next week's thumbnail.
Yeah, you never know, but very cool though, just the way he's training, and he's just like, I don't even remember what he was saying, like Teiko or like Calso or what, I don't know, just all that kind of stuff. So very cool. I like that, and how he pops up the holograms showing her swipes to counters and stuff like that, which is really, really neat. And yeah, like you mentioned, great callback to A New Hope where it all started, just this Jedi training. And I really liked how Ahsoka, I can't remember exactly what she said. I wanted to quote it, but let's
get the fuck up.
Yeah, get the fuck up, bitch. Like, let's take it again, or like again, or something like that. It just felt really reminiscent to Tales of the Jedi when Anakin was pushing her again and again and again to fight against the clones. I really like that, and I really feel like there was a lot of that training coming down and flowing through her, and it was really, really wonderful. Yeah, it's neat to see this dynamic unfold and to see them talk about another Mandalorian Jedi. There's been hardly any. It's very cool to get that cultural kind of impact as well. So I think everything that's kind of unfolding with this is going along quite nicely. I stand with you on her not using the Force yet. I don't need that. Use it in the battle against Haiti when I think Ahsoka in the trailer was fighting Merrick, and yeah, Sabine is fighting Haiti in that. So yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, let's run it again. Thank you, Clay. Yeah.
There you go. I was just looking because I saw this, like, people are talking about the like the disaster lineage or master apprentice lineage of Star Wars. It looks like Yoda had like multiple apprentices over the years. So.
Oh, he would have. I mean, look how old he was, right?
Yeah, he had. It looks like 6. I didn't know he was the master to who the fuck is the squid guy?
Kit Fisto?
No, or sorry, squid. Squid Head.
The Squid Head?
Who's the guy who's like about like the Battle of Wookiees or on Battle of Kashyyyk or whatever? There's that meme. You know the guy.
I'll know it, but I need a little more context.
Yeah, he's white and he has a big head.
Oh, Squid Head, Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah, there you go.
Penis head, not Squid Head.
What? Yeah, I guess. But what does a squid head look like?
Well, I mean, a squid. I don't know if a squid head really looks like that. I was thinking of something else completely different. I was thinking like Mon Calamarian or Quarren.
He does have a squid head.
No, Quarren. Okay, this is totally Squid Head. I'm showing you right here, ladies and gentlemen.
But anyways, I didn't ever know.
There's your squid head. That's Quarren right there.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. And then what was I gonna say? I didn't know that. So what was his name after all this?
Caddy Mundi.
Caddy Mundi. I didn't know that Yoda was his apprentice as well, or other way around. Yoda was his master. I didn't know that.
Yoda was his apprentice.
Caddy Mundi was good. He shouldn't have lost in that fucking snow planet to the clones or whatever got shot down. But I didn't know that because there's just a couple High Republic ones Yoda has. There's this one blonde guy with a green lightsaber that I've never seen in my life who looks like the most discount Jedi ever. Do you know who I'm talking about? Do you know? I'll show this before we end it here.
Yeah, you gotta show me the photo.
Because like this guy looks like he would have definitely been one of those people that got taken down by Palpatine right away.
This photo. Oh, okay. So
Who is that guy? Who is the guy with the green that Yoda trained?
I know who he is. I know who he is. No one. Don't say in the chat. Don't say in the chat. Oh God, why can't I remember? Oh, I know
Chat, get
him. Mother trucker. Oh, I gotta Google it now. I'm so.
Well, okay.
peeved.
Well, chat, you can tell us now if you have
Chat
to
can
Google
drop
it.
it. Chat can drop it. I'm
Jeez
sure Clay will
Louise.
drop it. I totally know who he is. Oh God, that really freaking bothers me.
And I didn't know. This is where I missed out on because this is my Star Wars brain that forgets thing. I didn't know that Mace Windu was connected with Kanan and Ezra. I didn't know that, so that's interesting.
How is he connected?
Mace Windu trained Kanan's master.
Oh, and what is Kanan's master's name?
Focus on the first guy, the boring blonde white guy. Me as a Jedi, apparently, because it's a green lightsaber as well with long hair. So this is just me. He looks like Ray Fiennes. He looks like this photo looks like if you said, let's see if I can zoom in on here.
I tried Googling Jedi Master white man with long hair, and I did not.
Just put
I got
Yoda
Opal
apprentices.
Rancisis.
But this photo literally looks like if I said I put an AI generator. Like AI Ray Fiennes as Yoda's apprentice, it would be this guy. But yeah, Mace Windu trained Kanan's one, so Ezra has that going on.
It's not General Coda, although that's a pretty good pitch. It's not. I gotta find it.
Is that Ram Kota?
Ram
Fan what Clay
Kota.
says.
Yeah, that's who I was responding to, because he's the
Okay.
Jedi who trains Starkiller, sort of, in Force Unleashed.
Oh yeah, it looks. Yeah, I guess there's a younger photo of him, but yeah, really the main timeline. You got Yoda to Count Dooku, then Dooku to Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan to Luke and Anakin. Like I like that they count Obi-Wan as Luke. Like I don't really count that one. You know, it I guess it counts, but yeah, really the lineage is Obi-Wan, Anakin then to Ahsoka, and then to Sabine. But and look at Luke here. Fucking they count Grogu this chart here. They count Leia, Grogu, Ben, and Rey. He had 4 apprentices, and
That's pretty good.
yeah. So I guess only one turned bad. There you go. The most important one, the one more powerful than Vader. But I digress. Any sign? Did you not just search Yoda apprentices?
No, I found it. You fucking squid at it. Oh my god.
What's his name?
So his name is Sin Draelig. Cin. Xbox versus S. Xbox types. Fight Club music.
Hey,
genre.
this is gonna be
Fight
that's
Club.
gonna be some movie spoilers in there too.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Let me start screen sharing before we get really dangerous.
What are you typing in there?
What's his name?
Sin. CinDralig. Sin Draleg. So space Sin, and then space Draleg. No, not Cinda. No, not Cinda. Go
What?
back 2 spaces. Sin.
Okay.
CIN space.
Okay. Cyan.
DRALLIG.
Jeez, I'm on vacation mode. Fuck.
He was in Clone Wars.
Oh, I can tell. Fucking Yoda trained this guy. He trained Sindraleg. Oh man.
So
what happened to him?
he gets killed by Vader. Now, you want to know something juicy here? I can show you a scene.
Sure. Oh, he had a blue lightsaber at one point. Where are these live action shots?
Okay.
Sindralen respect thread.
Drop your screen share here. I'm going to show you something. So he is. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
What the hell's going on?
He's
with
just
my
staring
screen
into
right
my
now?
soul. Why did he have two lightsabers?
Present. Why does the screen not want to share? Let's see, like this.
Did the Book of Boba Fett do a major retcon on a Jedi death? Oh, why was he on the wall? Was Sindralen's name on the wall? Oh shit.
No, okay, so that photo. What the flying fuck? That photo
Okay.
is.
So
being
the scene in
problematic,
question, while
but-
Taylor's looking, in the midst of Grogu's training sequence, Luke offered to help his new apprentice remember some of his past. By probing Grogu's mind, Luke did just that. He unlocked Grogu's memories, and Fan got to see a glimpse of what happened to Grogu during Order 66. Let's see. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Well, the episode's... Okay, Grogu sat in the
So-
hallway of the Jedi Temple while 3 Jedi tried to defend him from the onslaught of the 501 or 501st clone troopers. One by one, the Jedi fell to the barrage of blast bullets, leaving Grogu to the clones. While the episode's credit didn't mention the name, one in the middle seemed oddly familiar. His robes, green lightsaber, long hair made him look like Sindrayo. So they're saying that...
But
Yeah.
to counter that, you have Sindraleg here getting killed by Anakin in the holograms from
Oh,
Revenge
God.
of the Sith.
He was one of those bitch Jedi. Damn. That's worse than having Count Dooku on Yoda's record. The fact that he trained one of these bitch Jedi, Syndulla, or Syndulig.
Syndulla.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Because like the other two are higher public people. I don't know what happened to them. But then there's like, who was the other one? You had the. I guess the other guy died in Order 66 too. But wow, fascinating. What was his name again?
Sindraleg.
Sindraleg. He was a boss fight in Revenge of the Sith. Clay, I think I remember that. Great game.
He
Sindraleg.
You'll get a kick of this. He was the head of the Jedi Temple Guard and a lightsaber instructor
course.
who is disrespectfully nicknamed the Troll by members of the Jedi.
Why?
That's
What?
canon too. That's canon. The Jedi were like, "Oh, it's the Troll."
Why is he named the Troll?
I don't know. He was just disliked. Oh my goodness.
God damn. That sucks, man. You're the Troll and you get killed one-handed by Anakin Skywalker. They're probably still calling him the Troll. Luke sits all his apprentices down. He's like, let me tell you about the Troll. And they just all make fun of him. Like, don't be like the Troll. Well, anything else on this episode?
No, I think that is it.
Well, everyone go do your due diligence. Right now, go search up Sindraleg, whatever the fuck his name is. Go seek him out. Learn
Go to
about
the
him.
threads, the support threads.
Someone tell me why he was named the Troll, and I'll give you a shout out next week or something. Okay, until next week. Won't be boring. May the Force be with you.
Always.